Emily's voice echoed through the marble hallway. Look at those shoes. She laughed loudly. Rosa, even my trash looks better than this. The poor maid froze at the door, clutching a mop in her hand. Her shoes were torn at the sides. The sole was almost open. One lace was missing. The delivery guy at the door looked away, embarrassed. Rosa's cheeks turned red. She looked down at her feet, trying to hide them behind the mop. Emily crossed her arms, wearing shiny designer heels. These ugly things in my house? She said. You are making my home look cheap. Rosa whispered, voice shaking. Madam, they are the only shoes I have. Emily rolled her eyes. Then maybe you should learn to be barefoot, she said. Or don't come to work. Grace, Emily's 11-year-old daughter, watched all of this from the staircase, her hands slowly tightening on the railing. If you were standing there, watching, what would you feel? The morning sun hit the large glass windows of Emily's mansion. The floor was shiny. The walls were white. Everything looked perfect. Except the maid's shoes. Rosa walked in quietly, as she did every day. She woke up at 5 a.m. in her tiny room in the slum. She packed a small piece of bread for breakfast. She kissed her sleeping daughter on the forehead before leaving. Now she was here, in this huge house. Cleaning floors. Washing dishes. Carrying heavy laundry baskets. Her shoes scratched softly against the marble as she walked. SCRR, SCRR. The sound of old rubber and cracked leather. Emily was in the living room, sitting on a white couch, scrolling her phone. Rosa. Emily shouted without looking up. Bring my coffee. And wipe those dirty footprints. You walk like a street dog. Yes, madam, Rosa said gently. Her feet hurt. The shoes were too old. Her left big toe was almost poking out from a small hole. Rosa went to the kitchen, made coffee, and carried it carefully to the living room. But as she walked, the side of her shoe caught on the edge of a rug. Her shoe bent. She stumbled. The coffee cup shook, and a small drop fell on the floor near Emily's feet. Emily jumped up. Are you blind? She yelled. Do you know how much this rug costs? I'm sorry, madam, Rosa said quickly, putting the cup on the table. I will clean it. Emily's eyes went straight to Rosa's shoes. She laughed in disbelief. Wait a second, she said loudly. Are you wearing those same broken shoes again? Rosa pulled one leg back, trying to hide. Madam, I can't afford new ones now. My daughter's school asked for. Emily cut her off with a sharp laugh. Don't tell me your poor stories, she said. I don't care. Grace came into the room, holding her school bag. Mom, I'm ready, she said. Emily grabbed her car keys. Good. Rosa, we're going to the mall. You come with us. Carry the bags, Emily ordered. Rosa nodded and followed them to the car. The mall was bright and shiny. Big glass shops. Expensive clothes. Loud music. Emily walked ahead in her high heels. Grace walked beside her, quiet. Rosa walked behind them, holding Emily's handbag and a shopping bag. People passed by, looking at Rosa's old clothes and broken shoes. Some of them stared. Some of them laughed quietly. Emily went straight into a luxury shoe store. Heels, she told the salesman. The most expensive ones. The salesman welcomed her with a big smile. Grace sat on a small couch and watched. Rosa stayed near the door, half inside, half outside, feeling out of place. Emily tried different heels. Red. Black. Silver. Shiny gold. She stood in front of the mirror, turning left and right. Then she suddenly called out, loud enough for everyone to hear. Rosa! Come here. Rosa walked in slowly, careful not to scratch the shiny floor. Emily pointed at her shoes. Everyone, just look at this, Emily laughed. This is how my maid comes to work. With shoes that look like they were found in the trash. A couple nearby turned and looked. The salesman's smile faded a little. Rosa's heart sank. Her hands started to shake. She wanted to disappear. Madam, please, she whispered. Don't say that in front of people. Why not? Emily said. Maybe they'll donate something for you. Poor little thing with poor little shoes. Grace looked at her mom, shocked. Mom, that's mean, Grace said quietly. Emily ignored her. She leaned down and poked the side of Rosa's shoe with the tip of her finger. It's actually opening, she laughed. Soon your toes will be waving hello. A few people tried not to look. One woman shook her head. Rosa's eyes filled with tears. She blinked fast so they would not fall. She thought about her daughter, Lily. She remembered Lily's voice from last night. Mama, my shoes are too small. My toes hurt at school. Can I have new shoes? Rosa had smiled and said, Soon, my love. Mama is saving money. Now her heart broke a little. She was saving for her daughter's shoes, not for herself. Emily stood straight. You know what? She said. You are making my life look cheap. Tomorrow I don't want to see these shoes. If you come here in these again. She paused. I will cut your salary in half. Understand? Rosa felt like the floor had disappeared under her. Yes, madam, she whispered. As they left the store, Grace walked slowly next to Rosa. Does it hurt? Grace asked softly, looking at her feet. Rosa forced a tiny smile. No, dear. It's okay, she lied. But Grace could see her eyes. They were shining with unshed tears. That night, as Rosa washed the dishes, she kept looking at her shoes. She knew what Emily said. Tomorrow don't come in these. But she had no other pair. She took a deep breath. How will I go to work? She thought. If I don't go, we don't eat. If I go like this, she will cut my pay. Her hands shook in the sink. The camera of fate was already rolling. Rosa has no shoes for tomorrow. And Emily is about to face a truth she never expected. The next morning, the sky was gray. Rosa left her house barefoot. She carried her old shoes in a plastic bag. She couldn't risk wearing them in front of Emily again. But she also couldn't walk on the hot, rough road with nothing on her feet. So she stopped at the street corner. She sat down, wiped the dust from her feet, and put on the broken shoes. One more day, she whispered to herself. Just one more day, God. Please. When she reached Emily's house, she took a deep breath before ringing the bell. The gate opened. Grace ran past her, holding a project in her hand. Hi, Rosa. She smiled. Good morning, dear, Rosa replied. Emily came behind Grace, dressed in a fancy outfit. Hurry up. We're late for the school assembly, Emily said. It was Kindness Day at Grace's school. They had arranged an event to teach children about respect, empathy, and helping others. Parents were invited too. Irony had entered the chat. The school hall was full. Kids sat in rows. Parents filled the back seats. Banners on the walls said, Be kind to everyone. Respect people, not things. Kindness is a choice. Grace sat with her class. Emily sat with other mothers, busy on her phone. On stage, the principal, Mr. Carter, spoke into the mic. Today, he said, we talk about simple kindness. Not to rich people. Not to people who look like us. But to everyone. Especially those who serve us. His words cut straight through the air. Rosa's face suddenly came into Grace's mind. Mr. Carter told a story about a janitor who was humiliated for his old shoes, but later turned out to be a hero. The children listened quietly. Grace felt her chest grow heavy. She remembered her mom laughing at Rosa's shoes. She remembered Rosa's eyes. Are we the bad ones? She thought. At the end, Mr. Carter said, we must never judge someone by their clothes or shoes. If we do, we are showing our own poverty. Poverty of the heart. Parents clapped. Emily barely looked up from her phone. After the assembly, children went to their classrooms. In Grace's class, the teacher said, Today's assignment, write or share about a real moment when someone was kind, or unkind. Tell the truth. Some kids talked about giving food to a homeless man. Some talked about helping friends. Grace sat quietly, her hands cold. The teacher noticed. Grace? She asked. Would you like to share something? Grace swallowed. Yes, ma'am, she said slowly. But, it's not a good story. The class became silent. Grace stood up. She looked at her shoes first. Perfect, clean sneakers. Then she imagined Rosa's broken ones. At my home, Grace began, voice soft but clear. We have a maid. Her name is Rosa. She works very hard. She has a daughter. They are poor. The teacher nodded gently. One day, my mom laughed at her shoes, Grace said, eyes filling up. In front of strangers. She called them trash. She threatened to cut her salary if she wore them again. Some kids gasped. The teacher's face changed. Not angry but serious. How did that make you feel? The teacher asked. Grace's lips trembled. It felt wrong, she whispered. Rosa was hurt. But she didn't say anything. She just smiled and said sorry. Even though she did nothing wrong. A tear rolled down Grace's cheek. The teacher walked closer and handed her a tissue. You were very brave to share that, the teacher said softly. What do you want to do about it? Grace looked up. I want to say sorry to her, she said. And I want my mom to say sorry too. The teacher nodded. Sometimes, she said, children remind adults how to be human. After school, while Emily was talking loudly with other moms about brands and parties, Grace went to the school counselor, Ms. Mia. Ms. Mia, can I show you something? She asked. Grace took out her tablet. A few days ago, she had been recording a TikTok dance in the living room. In the background, the camera had accidentally captured something else. It had recorded Emily laughing at Rosa's shoes. Every word. Look at those shoes. Even my trash looks better. Don't come back in these again or I'll cut your pay. The sound was clear. The video showed Rosa standing like a statue, looking at the floor. Grace had never watched it fully. Now as it played, she felt sick. Ms. Mia watched, her eyes sad. Who is this woman? She asked quietly. Grace whispered, my mom. And this is your maid? Mia asked. Grace nodded. Ms. Mia took a deep breath. This is not okay, she said. This is bullying. It is abuse of power. Do you understand that? Grace nodded again, tears falling now. I don't want my mom to be seen as a bad person, Grace said. But I want her to change. I want her to stop hurting people like this. Ms. Mia looked at her with kindness. Grace, she said, sometimes people only change when they see themselves from the outside. When they see how ugly their actions look. She thought for a moment, then added. Tomorrow, we have the Parent Appreciation Assembly. Your mother is supposed to get an award for Most Supportive Parent because of her donations. Mr. Carter should see this before that. Grace's heart jumped. You mean, she said, show him the video? Ms. Mia nodded. Yes, she said. It might be hard. It might be painful. But maybe this is how truth comes out. As Grace handed the tablet to Ms. Mia, her hands shook. What if my mom gets angry? She whispered. Mia looked her in the eyes. Sometimes, she said softly, people need a little shock to wake up. The video is now in the hands of the school, and Karma is getting ready to walk on stage. The next day the sky was clear, but Emily's future was not. She was excited. She wore her newest heels, bright and expensive. She had donated a large amount of money to the school last month. Today, she was going to be honored in front of everyone. Grace, hurry. She shouted. We can't be late. I don't want to miss my big moment. Grace sat in the car quietly. Her stomach felt heavy. When they reached the school, the hall was already full. Rosa had come too. She was asked to help serve snacks in the back. She stood near the door with a tray. Today, Rosa wore the same old shoes. She had no other choice. As she walked, she tried to hide them behind the tablecloth. Her feet were swollen from all the walking. The back of the shoe had cut into her skin. Every step hurt. Emily didn't even notice her. She walked straight to the front row, head held high. On stage, Mr. Carter took the mic. Today, he said, we are here to honor parents who show kindness, support, and respect to others. Some of them give money. Some give time. Some give love. He paused and looked at the front row. Before we give any awards, we want to share a short video, he said. A real moment. A real lesson. The lights went dim. Emily smiled, fixing her hair. Oh, probably a video of our donations, she whispered to the mother next to her. Grace's heart was beating so fast she could hear it in her ears. The screen behind the stage lit up. At first, it showed the living room of Emily's house. Grace's voice was heard in the background, laughing and counting for a dance. Then, the camera turned slightly. And there it was. Emily's own face. In full HD. She was standing in her living room, pointing at Rosa's shoes. Her voice boomed through the speakers. Look at those shoes. Rosa, even my trash looks better than this. These ugly things in my house? You are making my home look cheap. Tomorrow, don't come in these again. Or I will cut your salary in half. The entire hall went silent. The video paused on Rosa's face. You could see her eyes shining with tears, her lips pressed tightly. You could also hear Grace say in the background very faintly, Mom, that's mean. Then the screen went black. No one clapped. No one moved. Emily's mouth fell open. Her hands began to shake. What is this? She whispered. Parents turned to look at her. Some looked angry. Some looked disappointed. Some just looked sad. A boy in the back murmured, That's so cruel. Mr. Carter stepped forward again. This, he said slowly, is also real. This is how some of us treat the people who serve us. While our children watch. Emily felt like the floor was gone. Her cheeks burned. Her heart pounded. Sweat formed on her forehead. She wanted to disappear. Mr. Carter continued, voice calm but firm. Kindness is not writing checks, he said. Kindness is not buying expensive gifts for the school. Kindness is how you talk to the maid, the driver, the cleaner, the guard, when no one is watching. He looked straight at Emily. Or when you think no one is watching, he added. All eyes were on her. Grace stared at her mother, tears in her eyes. She felt guilty, scared, hopeful, all at the same time. Emily tried to say something. This is, taken out of context, she stammered. She comes in dirty shoes, it's my home. Her words sounded weak, ugly, empty. Mr. Carter shook his head. "Ms. Emily," he said, "those shoes are not the only thing broken here." He looked at the audience. "Today, there will be no Most Supportive Parent Award," he announced. "Instead, we will have something else. A moment of truth." He turned back to Emily. "Would you like to say something to the person in that video?" he asked. Emily's throat closed. Her eyes filled with tears. Rosa was standing at the back, frozen, holding a tray. Her hands were shaking so badly that the glasses on the tray were clinking. She never thought anyone would show this. She never thought anyone would stand up for her. Now the whole school knew. Emily turned. For the first time, really seeing Rosa. A woman in old clothes. Tired eyes. Broken shoes. Not an object. A human. Emily stood up slowly. Her heel caught on the carpet. She almost fell. She walked down the aisle, her legs trembling. All the eyes followed her. Step by step, she moved toward Rosa. As she walked, she remembered every word she had said. Trash. Ugly. Cut your salary. Each word hit her like a stone. When she reached Rosa, she stopped. Up close, she saw the bandage inside Rosa's shoe. A tiny line of blood at the back of her heel. Rosa looked at her, confused, frightened. Emily's voice broke. "Rosa," she whispered. I am so sorry." Rosa blinked. "Madam, you don't have to," she began. "No," Emily said, shaking her head. "I do. I have to." Tears finally fell from Emily's eyes. "In front of everyone," she said. "Because I hurt you in front of everyone." She turned to the hall and spoke into the silence. "I was wrong," she said simply. "I treated her like dirt. I laughed at her shoes. I forgot she is a human being. A mother. Someone who feels pain. I am ashamed." Her voice cracked on the last word. Grace started crying. She covered her mouth with her hand. Emily turned back to Rosa. "You walk in these shoes all day," she said. "You stand on your feet for hours, cleaning our mess. You go home to your daughter, still wearing them. And I mocked them. I mocked your struggle." She wiped her eyes. "Please forgive me," she whispered. "If you can." Rosa's lips shook. No one had ever apologized to her like this. Especially not a rich employer. And especially not in front of so many people. She swallowed hard. "I forgive you, madam," Rosa said softly. "But, please don't do this to anyone again." Emily nodded, crying. "I won't," she said. "I promise. Not ever again." Emily looked down at Rosa's shoes. "I can't let you walk another day in these," she said, voice more steady now. "Not you. Not your daughter." She turned to the hall. "I want to do something," she said. "Not just give money. I want to make it right. At least a little." That afternoon, Emily took Rosa to a shoe store nearby. But this time, the scene was very different. Emily walked beside her, not in front. "Rosa," she said, "you choose. Whatever is comfortable. Don't look at the price tag. Look at your feet." Rosa hesitated. "Madam, something simple is fine," she said. Emily smiled sadly. "Simple, yes. But strong," she said. "Like you." Rosa finally picked a strong, comfortable pair of shoes. The salesman helped her try them. When she stood up in the new shoes, she almost cried. Her feet felt soft, supported, safe. Emily wasn't done. "And now," Emily said, "one more pair. For Lily. Your daughter. You said her school shoes hurt her. That ends today." Rosa covered her mouth with her hand. "Madam," she whispered. "You remember her name?" Emily nodded. "I remember everything I ignored," she said quietly. They bought a pair of pretty sturdy school shoes for Lily. Back at the house, Emily did something no one expected. She took Rosa's old torn shoes. She placed them on her own shelf. Grace watched, confused. "Mom, why are you keeping them?" she asked. Emily looked at the broken shoes, then at her daughter. "Because," she said, "these shoes are my mirror. They will remind me who I never want to be again." Rosa stood at the door, wearing her new shoes. For the first time in a long time, she stood a little taller. She was still poor. Her life was still hard. But something had changed. People had seen her pain. Someone had asked her forgiveness. Someone had tried to make things right. And that someone was the very person who once laughed at her shoes. That is karma. Not just punishment, but awakening. The camera zooms out on Rosa's new shoes stepping out of the house. Strong. Quiet. Dignified. The narrator speaks. Never laugh at someone's shoes. You don't know how far they walk. You don't know what pain they hide. Real richness is not in your brand. Not in your heels. but in how you treat the people who have less than you. If you saw someone like Emily laughing at a maid's shoes, would you stay silent? Or would you stand up like Grace? Because sometimes, the shock that changes a heart is the moment it is finally forced to see itself.